Welcome into another episode of the Crypto Dojo Show, where we discuss everything that you should know about the world of crypto. Today is Sunday, January 12th, and I got a couple of clips that I kind of want to touch on. Um, it's a lot going on in the world, and we want to make sure that we are staying in tune with the proper things that we should be in tune with. And so I got another clip of, and I said his name wrong on one of my other videos, but his name is David Strzelecki, and he has a lot of good information that he talks about. So this particular clip is from the Schwab Network, and this is from the 8th. So a couple days ago, he was on there and he was talking his talk. So we're just gonna listen to what he has to say and kind of, speak on it a little bit. So let's get right to it.
Battling,
Yep.
but the BRICS nations is concerning, and the fact that they want to go away from the U.S. dollar and do a gold-backed deal. This is why I'm mentioning gold and silver, Bitcoin, crypto in general. Let's do it.
I lost you because we've got we're actually out of time, but I want to get 30-second thought on crypto.
Crypto is a great opportunity right now. We've got the most pro-crypto president in the United States, 60% of Congress right now that are on board with it. Bitcoin has not been the fastest transferable way of doing things, so it hasn't really adopted all the way. I think it should be worth a lot more than it is right now. Ripple is the company to be paying attention to. I believe that the United States will be looking at this as a swift dollar way of transacting and doing a lot of different things.
Okay.
So XRP is the ticker on that for people that are interested.
Well, okay, we're going to have to leave it there because there are questions about XRP, especially if you compare it to, say, Bitcoin, but we have to leave it there because we really are out of time. That's David Strzelecki, CEO of Sound Planning Group.
So, the fact that you she's not really familiar with these technologies based off of her response was like one of, why are you telling people this? That's what her response was. Because there is no comparison between Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network, the Bitcoin blockchain, and the XRP ledger. There is no comparison between the two. It was supposed to be a payment system network. The XRP ledger is a better payment system network. It does all of the transactions way faster and way cheaper. So Bitcoin is looked at as a store of gold. This is said by the Fed. The Chairman Powell from the Fed, he said that Bitcoin is competition for gold. It is digital gold. It is like pretty much clear amongst everybody who's having this conversation honestly and who have looked into these things, that is what Bitcoin is. It's considered digital gold. So her response is just
because there are questions about XRP. Well, okay, we're going to have to leave it there because there are questions about XRP. To leave it there because there are questions.
Slow down
for people that are interested.
Well, okay, we're going to have to leave it there because there are questions about XRP, especially if you compare it to, say, Bitcoin. But we have to leave it there because we really are out of time. That's David Strzelecki.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's have that conversation. Let's have that conversation. Look how you cheesing. Let's have that conversation. Look at look at her. Hold on, buddy. Slow it down there. He let's have this conversation. Because if you really get into it, I'm sure he's thorough enough to break it down with her if you really want to have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? But he's talking about the BRICS nations is concerning because the world uses the dollar as the world reserve currency. And when the BRICS nations create their own currency, that means that the dollar is going to weaken internationally. And so that means that other countries wouldn't hold as many dollars anymore in reserve. So now these dollars are gonna start coming back to the U.S. And when these dollars come back to the U.S., that's gonna lead to inflation. That means there's gonna be too many dollars chasing too few goods. So when there's too much of something, that means it's devalued. So that means the dollar's not gonna be as valuable because we're gonna have so many dollars that are coming back because the world's not using them anymore. So that being said, to add on to this, and so he was saying, oh, that XRP is gonna be like the Swift payment. So you got these two blockchains. You got these two distributed ledgers. You got the Bitcoin blockchain, and then you have the distributed ledger, the XRP ledger. So Bitcoin is going to be like digital gold. The XRP ledger is going to be like the Swift payment system. So BRICS is creating their own currency. It's going to be backed by gold. It's going to run on the blockchain. Now, the current payment system that the world uses is Swift. So, in a sense, you can look at it like Swift is going to be migrated onto the XRP network. So now the XRP network payment system, you could say, quote unquote, and this is very loose here, quote unquote, it is this new Swift payment system, right? And now there's also going to be another payment system that the BRICS that they're coming up with. So to add on to what he was saying about Bitcoin and inflation and the dollar no longer being a world reserve currency, what we see is in Oklahoma, they introduced the Bitcoin Freedom Act. So this is important because as we go through this transition, the devaluing of the dollar, as we're going through this, Bitcoin serves as a way to protect your dollars against inflation. So by not only maintaining the value, but also increasing it as well. So instead of holding dollars and these outside factors that are coming into play, devaluing the dollars that you have in your bank account, Bitcoin is an alternative where you can hold the value that you generate instead of holding it in dollars, because it is basically on this last leg, in a sense. You can hold your value in Bitcoin. So this is this is from also January, Fox 25, January 8th. So Senator Dusty Devers has introduced the Bitcoin Freedom Act, a legislative proposal aimed at integrating Bitcoin into Oklahoma's economic framework. The bill, known as SB325, would allow employees in the state to opt for payment in Bitcoin and enable vendors to accept Bitcoin transactions. In a time when inflation is eroding the purchasing power of hardworking Oklahoma, this is a quote. In a time when inflation is eroding the purchasing power of hardworking Oklahoma, and we get inflation from multiple ways. So when the Fed prints money, that causes inflation because they're creating dollars out of thin air and they're adding those dollars to the market. So the more something there is, the less valuable it is. That creates inflation when they print money and they do these different things and they be sending money to different places and all of that. That creates inflation. So that is just the natural inflation of daily operations of the United States. So when you add on top of that the inflation that you would get when all of these dollars start coming back to the United States, because BRICS has created their own payment system and they no longer need to hold as many dollars in their reserves, you doubling up on the inflation. You know what I'm saying? And what we want to do is double up on our value. We don't want to double up on inflation. We want to double up on value. We want to double up on value, not inflation. So in a time when inflation is eroding the purchasing power of hard-working Oklahomans, Bitcoin provides a unique opportunity to protect earnings and investments. Deaver said, as Bitcoin continues to rise and the value of the dollar continues to be printed away, in Washington, D.C., Oklahoma must act to protect our people. I'm going to read that again. As Bitcoin continues to rise and the value of the dollar continues to be printed away in Washington, D.C., Oklahoma must act to protect our people. Bitcoin is increasingly viewed as a hedge against inflation. SB325 ensures that participation is entirely voluntary, so you don't even have to participate. If you want to double up on inflation, you are more than welcome to do so. It is your prerogative. You know, you can do that if that's what you want to do. So SB 325 ensures that participation is entirely voluntary, respecting free market principles and empowering employees, employers, and businesses to choose the payment options that work best for them. There is a reason President Trump campaigned heavily as a pro-Bitcoin candidate and spoke at prominent Bitcoin events. Bitcoin has arrived into the mainstream of our economy and is unquestionably a significant part of the financial future, Deaver said. This legislation puts Oklahoma in a leadership role nationally, ensuring our state embraces the future of financial technology while providing our citizens with more financial options. And you know, the really good thing about this, and I'm not going to be on here too much more longer, but I got to show you this. So, when we're talking about Bitcoin, let's look at why this is important. So we're talking about savings, right? You may have a savings account somewhere, and you're saving your value. So when you work, you're giving your energy to something. And in exchange for your energy and your life force, they give you dollars, right? Meanwhile, in the background, they playing, it's funny money. They playing with the money. That's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? They getting the energy that your life force, your energy, they getting it for the low. You know what I'm saying? They playing with the money. It's funny money. It's monopoly money. So, when you exchange your energy for this fiat currency, you put it in your bank, and you might be saving, okay? Now, the reason it might be beneficial to hold your value in Bitcoin rather than the dollar is this. Let me show you. Let's say you got a savings account and you've been putting money in your savings account and you've been saving up for 5 years. You've been saving up for 5 years and you done saved up $1,000. Now, this whole time that you've been saving, this whole 5 years, the value of that 1,000 has been going down the entire time. So even though the number in the account shows 1000, and I say this often, I'm sure I've said it in previous videos, but I just gotta keep saying it so that it stick. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no bubble gum. So when you have that $1,000, the longer you have it, the less valuable it is. You would have been able to get more with it had you spent it right when you got it. So let's look at this. 5 years. In 5 years, we're talking about holding your value in Bitcoin. We're talking about holding value in a bank account. In 5 years, Bitcoin has gone up 1.05 thousand percent. 1.05,000% in 6 months. It's gone up 44.93%. In a year, it's gone up 119.43%. Listen to what I'm saying. In 5 years, it's gone up 1.05 thousand. 1.05 thousand%. Okay? Now, no disrespect to Bank of America, but you got a savings account at Bank of America. This is from Bank of America. Bank of America deposits products FDIC insured. This is their site. Yeah, you see, it's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. That's what it's backed by. It ain't backed by nothing. It ain't backed. It's backed by that. So, let's scroll down here. Now you can get you a savings account. You know, all it takes is $100. Take $100. You know, you $8 a month. Look, you maintain a minimum daily balance of $500 or more on your account, or you pay $8 a month for the account. Okay. Now, let's look at the account balance. If you got less than $2,500, your standard annual percentage yield is 0.01%. If you in a gold tier, it's 0.02%. If you in a platinum tier, it's 0.03%. And if you just happen to be platinum honors tier and a higher APY of 0.04%. Oh, come on, man. What are we talking about? I don't have to know everything, but I can look at some numbers now. I don't got to know everything, but I can look at some numbers. And when I look at this here, 1.05 thousand. I'm gonna say it again because I have to. 1.05 thousand% in a year, 119.457. All right, let's look at the year. Let's look at the year. In a year, 119.47%. In a year, 0.01%. I'm not gonna rest my case though. I'm gonna keep talking about it. I'm not gonna rest my case. I'm gonna keep talking about it. I'm just saying. I mean, when we look at the numbers got to add up. Ain't that right? They got to add up. Ain't that right? They got to. If the numbers don't add up, something is funky. And ain't no music playing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no music playing. Something funky. So we gotta get to where the music is playing. If something funky going on. So I'm trying to lead you to the music. You know. But yeah, so you know, we got to stay in tune. We got to be aware of what's going on. That's part of my role. Part of my role is to make sure that you know what's happening and what's not happening. So with that being said, I appreciate you as always for tuning in to another episode of the Crypto Dojo Show, where we discuss everything you should know about the world of crypto. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.